do you ever see like us as a Muslim community being trendsetters when it comes to, like, for example, there's some pockets like Philadelphia, right? You go to Philadelphia, the Muslim community there is so they're so present that other people outside of the Muslim community actually follow the Muslim community.
The long t-shirt and the
beard, the pants above the ankles and things like that. Do you see us ever reaching that type of level on a national scale?
Definitely.
And what would we need for that to happen?
Definitely. I think we're on the cusp. I think we're almost there. That's one of the goals of my clothing line, is to break that barrier right there. And to have this be, it's not just
and make more designers from the Muslim community.
Definitely.
You know, what's interesting is if you look at the Jewish American culture and Jewish American community, their whole thing with becoming mainstream, like the deli. The deli is a very specific Jewish thing.
Yeah. And
it was created as a means of, like, the synagogue is a very sacred spot. You don't let your hair down at the synagogue, so to speak. Right, but they still needed a place to kind of chill and relax. The deli became like that go-to spot for them to hang out. It's kosher food. You've got socialization, and then some of these Jewish celebrities, because they had their needs in terms of what they needed to eat and things like that, they would tell their fans, "Come meet me at the deli."
Yeah,
and that just started happening across the board. People started becoming more familiar with what a deli is, and deli became a staple part of American society because delis did not exist outside of the USA.
Yeah,
like at least in that cultural context. So, and it added to the whole fact, because where are you going to get the best bagels and those cold cut meats?
Yeah,
in a way that they do it at the kosher deli.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a matter of adding value that are also fulfilling our needs, especially in the area of fashion and whatever other trends.
Look, I can see the hijab becoming, ironically, the hijab becoming a fashion statement
for many women.
I mean, I know it sounds like really far out right now.
We were talking about trends, right? I just had this idea. Imagine, and I was having a discussion with this other.
Is that a Sudani thing?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, talking back, giving him that energy.
No, I feel like it's a way for you to re-engage yourself into the conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, it works.
I've heard a lot of Sudanis do that.
Very effective.
It's like, I'm not paying attention. Okay, let's Okay, let's go. Let's back at it.
Right.
Shit, Kamal does it.
Yeah, man. I mean, you grew up around the Sudanis in Virginia, Maryland, that whole area.
It's so familiar to me. No, I'm serious.
So we're talking about setting trends, and the thought that I had, it was coming out of a discussion I had with one of the local community members. What if we had like a virgin bar? Right? He's like, what? Is like a bar with virgins in it? I'm like, no, like mocktails.
Yeah.
Right, but it's open to everybody, and we can call it Mary's Virgin Bar.
Why Mary?
Virgin Mary.
Oh wow, that's a great branding right there.
Non-alcoholic. It's wholesome. It's and within.
Wholesome.
Well, I mean, whatever you want to call it, it's got a sacred space within it, like a musalla.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So people can learn about.
That's another trend right there, where we're just trying to create these space, sacred space.
Yeah, but like think about this. What is
Same musalla, man.
It's musalla to the Arab, but this is not Arab or this is not Muslim facing. It's general public facing. There's something of value that we're providing to them. And the cool thing is the space would be...
Are they going to use the sacred space?
Yeah, they would. Why? Because they're going there to learn about different, whatever it could be, but they can experience
Notice how you call it a sacred space now.
No, I'm using his terminology to just figure it out.
No, but it would be designed such that it's soundproof. Right? You go in there and it's silence. You ever been into a sound room? Like a sound booth?
So let me tell you something about Belal. 20% of his ideas are good.
The other 80%,
you just gotta you just gotta get through all of that.
I see.
And you gotta get to the gold. It's in there. You gotta dig for it. It's there. It's deep in there.
That's true. You know, when it came to my class, I don't know if you heard this story yet, but we're coming up with the names of Allah, and the way that we're trying to figure out is how are we going to get people to engage with the names or categorize the names. And you categorize them based on what you see of similarities between the names. And so Belal goes, you know what? Categorizing name, the whole purpose of it is to just try to connect the audience with it and try to get them to remember it, to trigger these names according to that category.
Yeah.
So why don't you just make it story-based, where you follow a person through their interaction with the names?
Yeah.
And I'm like, All right, it's a good enough. It's okay. It's nothing special. Well, it kind of sounds silly. So then I sent some, shuyukhs, the course outline to get feedback. And Sheikh Hassan Hanif over in Birmingham, the UK, he goes, Ammar, that's great. You know what you should do? You should make it story based. And I'm like, that's genius. I'm like, shit, that's an amazing idea. Same exact idea. So then I come and I tell Belal, and Belal is like, I'm describing to him what Sheikh Hassan said. And he's like, that's exactly what I said. I said, yeah, but when you said it, I didn't know whether I was filtering through the 80%, the 80-20 rule, or whether it was actually the 20%.
Look, but to be fair, when he comes up with good ideas, they're really good.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. The ideas are great, but you got to take action on them. You think they're bad because you didn't do anything with it.
That's not true. You're just basically saying 80% of your stuff I should immediately act upon?
No,
if you have the capacity to do so. I'm just saying, man.
Belal, you act upon 100% of your ideas, and
like I said, hey, I'm doing fine.
My idea is act upon them. You have the ability to do so. Whoever has the means and the financial and the physical means to do it.
Hey, there you go.
I think you talked about it in Fiqh of Chilling, but just social media has grown so much since then. And trends literally happen within a minute. Half the time I have no idea what's happening. In fairness, Sheikh Saad was talking about Snapchat and the need to get on it like 4 years ago or however long. And everybody's just laughing at him like,
I still remember 2009, man.
Talking about these apps while we're on Facebook with our parents and grandparents. I got on Snapchat eventually because the Saudi sheikh came here and they're huge on Snapchat, that whole culture. And I had no idea. I'm just like, I'm hearing about Snapchat and I just assumed, I was like, just something that some fad that kids are on.
Is that the one where he was talking about how he's learning English?
He was learning English. The sheikh, he came and he was just so like, he came and he's like, I sit in front of like my mirror and I just practice the American accent, like hi. Like he just practices these things. And I was like, wow. I was like, that's actually impressive because I know so many sheikhs who live in America who could care less about learning English. Yeah. And so here, this guy, the sheikh is coming from Saudi Arabia and he's so invested in, I'm gonna pick up on, cultural practices. I'm gonna try to figure out that. And he was just visiting, but he was addicted to Snapchat. He literally, snaps his entire day. Yeah. He just throws the camera in front of your face and Ammar, say something to my followers. And I'm like, okay, Assalamu alaikum. And then he's like, all of my followers are asking about you. They love you. It was very, very interesting. And he made me make a Snapchat account. And then alhamdulillah, ever since then, I was like,
now you're killing it.
I was loving it. It's my favorite. My favorite.
I got on Snapchat when it came out. I didn't know.
I made you get on Snapchat.
I know. I've been on and off Snapchat like 4 or 5 times now. And I just can't get, I can't.
It's not for everyone. I get that.
I understand the value. I know how it's used. I just don't I don't have the patience for it.
I think Snapchat is just an extension of yourself.
Yeah.
Whereas Twitter, I can't get on. Instagram, even less.
I'm done with Twitter.
You're done with Twitter?
I'm done with Twitter.
You're done with Twitter?
I'm done with Twitter.
I've been tweeting a lot more.
Bilal was talking about Twitter back in 2009.
Yeah,
I remember we were laughing at him too. We were like, I couldn't even conceptualize what Bilal was talking about. Because Bilal was telling me about what Twitter is and what you do, and I'm just like, that sounds stupid. And then, when it comes to these types of things, I'm a late adopter. I'm not, what do you call it? What's the first?
You're not an early adopter.
I'm way later.
You're part of the maturity stage.
Yeah, exactly. Periscope was hot for
Periscope,
3 months.
It was Meerkat. Meerkat was killing it.
And then Facebook Live just came and strong-armed everybody.
Facebook Live, man. It took over. Took over.
No, you know what happened to Periscope? Because here's the story. Meerkat came out. They were doing so good. They were using Twitter's platform. Twitter's like, yeah, you should go ahead and do it. They're looking at the code. Twitter makes its own thing called Periscope and shuts out Meerkat. Woo. Right? And so...
Kama tadinu tudan. Karma, you get what you...
Yeah, so... And then suddenly... Now, people are using Periscope. Periscope has its own contained audience. And it has its own, eco culture, so to speak. But Facebook just opened it up for the mass.